Quora Answers. What are some weird facts? Canada has a maple syrup cartel. Quebec is responsible for exporting about 75% of the world's maple syrup supply. A barrel of which goes for 24 times the price of oil, $50 versus $1,200. And like oil, its market is highly controlled, run by a group pretty closely resembling a cartel. This group is the Federation of Quebec Maple Syrup Producers, drawing parallel to OPEC. They set quotas, regulate pricing and store a substantial portion of the syrup. All Quebec syrup producers are required to join. Of course, there are a few who protest the Federation, nicknamed Maple Syrup Rebels. These rebels are straight out of a poorly scripted Hollywood drugs movie. They load syrup into cars at night, racing it over the border line to sell in America, fighting to have the freedom to set their own pricing. Of course, this isn't without consequence. Many face fines as high as $500,000, and the Federation often places literal guards to watch suspects' property. But here's where it gets interesting. During late 2011 and early 2012, thieves stole barrels from a Federation storage facility. They sneaked them out into trucks, siphoned off the maple syrup, refilled them with water, and finally returned them to the facility. The stolen syrup was then trucked to the US, and trafficked in smaller batches to avoid suspicion. In total, they stole nearly 10,000 barrels weighing around 3 tons. The total in losses? $18.7 million. The largest heist in Canadian history. The YouTube channel that forgot how to stop uploading, and instead started a uploading spree. What if I tell you that there's a YouTube channel uploading tens of hundreds of videos each day continuously for over 4 friggin' years? Forget PewDiePie or BB Vines, this channel has been pumping videos at a rate which is just unmatched and unparalleled too. As bizarre as it sounds, it goes way more awkward than this. This channel uploads videos every 15 minutes, on average. In fact, 15 minutes is the top of the roof. Most of the videos get uploaded within a time gap of 5 minutes, and even at times to the tune of 1 minute margin. Wait, there's still more. Each video's duration is about 11 seconds, which sometimes gets stretches to about 5 minutes and even 1 friggin' hour. And it consists of nothing but this. Random frames with random blue and red bars popping up with random keyboard notes. Imagine watching an hour of random bars popping out of nowhere. If this doesn't make you insane by now, then wait for the suspense part. This channel is operated by YouTube itself. Just search for the channel WebDriver Torso and let the world of internet amaze you. Why does it even exist? Here's another twist. It is used to test YouTube's video quality. As weird as it sounds, YouTube just uploads videos at this amazing frequency to test their uploading rate and quality mismatch. The videos are uploaded to YouTube, which are then compared to the videos before, when they were uploaded, to determine the amount of loss, in quality and data, incurred. So why only red and blue bars? They used the red color because it's the hardest color to see from the monitor. Don't trust me? Just Google it and observe. Blue color is similarly used as its hardest color to see, not to the same levels as red, but it helps the test. The main motive being to check whether the colors are perfectly visible or not. And if you are wondering about the weird sounds, it's used to check whether everything is working perfectly or not, like distortion. Well, the amazing part which I found was that it has got over 90,000 subscribers. In Pakistan, there is a tree that has been under arrest for nearly 120 years. It seemed like a tree in Pakistan's Khyber agency has been serving a life term. The tree, located in Landi Kotal Army Cantonment area, was arrested in 1898 for allegedly attempting to attack a British official. A plaque fixed on the tree reads, "I am under arrest." The tree was arrested at the orders of British Army officer James Squid, who was drunk at the time and saw an old tree lurch towards him. Squid ordered a soldier to arrest the tree immediately. Ever since it has been tied to chains, maybe because it may try to escape or something. Edit 1, thank you guys. If you have any doubt about banyan tree, then please visit the sources which says that it's a banyan tree. But, personally I do have a doubt. Edit 2, adding more images of British officer and short autobiography of tree. This. And this, same fella, in case he looks younger in his passport photo. By now I'm sure you're wondering where this is headed. He's the Great Pharaoh Ramesses II. One of the longest serving in Egypt. Believed to have ruled from 1279 to 1213 BC. Son of Seti I, his reign lasted 66 years. During that time, he undertook several successful military campaigns which filled the state coffers with enough resources that enabled him carry out populist reforms throughout his empire, and also erect several monuments in his honor. Traces of such structures were discovered as far as Palestine and Nubia, present-day Sudan, and of course Egypt. Picture below is of Ramesses' monument as a child at Cairo Museum. Another monument of his in Egypt. Okay, moving on. He lived to be around 90, outliving many of his wives and kids. Upon his death, he was buried in the Valley of Kings, VK7, but because of fear of tomb looters, his mummy was moved several times and ended up in a high priest's tomb, enclosed in a wooden casket. This is the interesting part. Centuries after his discovery, the state of Egypt had packaged his mummy and put it on display, but in 1975 a French doctor discovered it was in a poor state as a result of the presence of humidity where it was kept, showing signs of bacterial and fungal growth with, not so obvious, signs of decomposition. Then, the French president decided to persuade his Egyptian counterpart to fly the mummy to France for restoration. In 1976, because of existing French laws that required any person, dead or alive, to have a passport before entry into France, and because the same applied to Egypt, with an added reason of laying legal claim to the mummy and ensuring its safe return, Europe has a history of not respecting African historical artifacts. After more than 3,000 years since Ramesses' demise, he was issued an Egyptian passport to enable his mummy leave Egypt for France, for restoration. The occupation section of the passport stated king, deceased. At Paris, Le Bourget Airport, Emperor Ramesses' mummy received a military procession with full military honors. This effectively made him the first and only Egyptian pharaoh to hold an Egyptian passport and receive a full military procession in France, and to fly in an airplane. He was successfully restored and returned to Egypt for display at the Egyptian Museum in Cairo. I'm not sure he's used his passport for any travel again since then. I hope you found this interesting. Do you know that people in the Mongol Empire never, ever took a bath? The people in the old Mongol Empire never washed themselves because of a prevalent superstition of the time. In order to understand this, you need to first know that the Mongols of those times believed that the water cycle was controlled by dragons. They never washed themselves because they thought that it would result in the water getting polluted. This pollution, according to them, would make the dragons that controlled the water cycle angry. So if you were to meet any Mongolians of those times, you would be overwhelmed by their filth. Since the people in the Mongol Empire didn't bother to clean themselves, it shouldn't surprise you that their clothes were in the same boat. This means that they never washed their clothes either. You would think that common sense would at least make them change their clothes regularly since they didn't wash them. However, this was not the case. In fact, people of the Mongol Empire didn't change their clothes till they got torn or came apart on their own. The only exception to this was during festivals and holidays. On festivals and holidays, everyone in the Mongol Empire would change into special robes. It's only natural for a person to smell if he or she has never taken a bath in his or her life. However, the Mongol Empire took this to another level too. They treated a person's smell as something special and personal. Effectively, while you or I would treat their stinky clothes with upturned noses, they saw them as something honorable. It was also connected to their personalities. For instance, if the great Genghis Khan was to give some individual his old, worn out, and stinky clothes, then the person would feel honored. This feeling wouldn't only stem from the fact that the individual got to own the clothes of the great Mongol Empire's leader, but also because he received his smell with them. Yikes! People in the Mongol Empire mainly wore long, flowing gowns which are known as kaftans. Depending on an individual's status in the society, the detailing on his kaftan would vary. Furthermore, the material of the kaftan also varied according to the status of the person wearing it. The materials used by the Mongols included silk, fur, cotton, leather, wool, and even brocade. Along with their gown, they wore boots made of cow fur and belts. The worst part is that their boots almost always smelled of cow dung. Pea plant grows inside a man's lung. Ron Svidin, a 75-year-old from Massachusetts, had been struggling for breath for months. When he was rushed to hospital with a collapsed lung, the doctors were amazed to find out a pea plant was growing in his lung. Doctors examined his left lung, which was collapsed, to find a tumor, or at least if they could find any evidence of cancer. But they were baffled after seeing the result. It is reported that the plant was 1.25 centimeters in size. Doctors believe that at some point when Mr. Svidin ate pea, it went down the windpipe and sprouted. He has recovered from it. Check this picture out. That weird shape on this guy's arm isn't a tattoo. It's actually a scar. You see, our body naturally has sweat glands. But when we cut ourselves, our bodies heal but don't repair the sweat glands. Dirt automatically sticks to sweat, but scars don't sweat, so they don't get dirty, either. Kinda cool.